Hello and welcome to Tale Talk English. Today I will share a powerful and emotional story that will help you improve your English through simple, clear, and meaningful sentences. This story is about love, trust, secrets, and a painful discovery just before a wedding. Listen carefully, enjoy the story, and improve your English naturally. My name is Sarah Mitchell, and until a few years ago, I believed I had the perfect life. I was 29 years old and worked as a graphic designer for a small marketing company. My days were busy but enjoyable. I loved creating beautiful designs, meeting clients, and turning simple ideas into something special. More importantly, I was deeply in love with a man named Ethan Parker. Ethan and I had been together for 3 years. He was kind, funny, and patient. Whenever I had a difficult day, he knew exactly how to make me smile. We shared dreams about the future, talked about traveling together, and imagined building a family one day. When he proposed to me during a sunset walk by the beach, I said yes without hesitation. For months, I planned our wedding with excitement. Every detail mattered to me. I chose the flowers carefully, selected the music, and spent countless hours designing the invitations myself. Friends often joked that I treated the wedding like a professional project. One evening, about a week before the wedding, my best friend Emma visited my apartment. We sat on the couch drinking tea while discussing final preparations. "You seem nervous," Emma said. "I think every bride feels nervous before her wedding," I replied with a smile. She laughed. "Maybe, but I think everything will be wonderful." I wanted to believe her. Still, a strange feeling had been growing inside me during the previous few weeks. It was small and difficult to explain. Ethan seemed distracted sometimes. He often looked at his phone and quickly put it away when I entered the room. Whenever I asked if something was wrong, he smiled and said everything was fine. At first, I ignored it. Everyone gets stressed before a wedding. That was what I told myself. 3 days before the ceremony, Ethan and I met for dinner at our favorite restaurant. The atmosphere was warm and comfortable, soft music played in the background, and candles flickered on the tables. Halfway through the meal, Ethan received a text message. His face changed immediately. "What happened?" I asked. "Nothing important," he replied, but he looked worried. A few minutes later, his phone vibrated again. This time he stood up. "I need to take this call outside." I watched him walk away. Through the restaurant window, I could see him speaking quickly. His expression looked serious. When he returned, I tried to smile. "Everything okay?" "Yes," he said. The answer came too quickly. For the rest of the evening, something felt different. Ethan was physically present, but his mind seemed somewhere else. That night, I lay awake in bed, staring at the ceiling. What was he hiding? The question refused to leave my mind. The next morning, I went to a local bakery to confirm our wedding cake order. While I was speaking with the manager, a woman entered the shop. She looked around before her eyes stopped on me. For a moment, she seemed surprised. Then she slowly walked toward me. "Sarah Mitchell?" she asked. "Yes?" She hesitated. "I don't know if I should tell you this." A cold feeling moved through my body. "Tell me what?" The woman took a deep breath. "I know Ethan." My heart immediately began beating faster. "How?" "We used to work together." I waited silently. She looked uncomfortable. "I thought you should know that he has been meeting someone recently." The room suddenly felt smaller. "What are you talking about?" "I've seen him several times during the last month. He wasn't alone." I stared at her. "No, that's impossible." "I could be wrong," she said quickly. "Maybe there is an explanation. I just thought you deserved to know." Before I could ask more questions, she apologized and left. I remained standing there, unable to move. The rest of the day felt like a dream. My thoughts moved in circles. Maybe the woman was mistaken. Maybe she confused Ethan with someone else. But what if she was telling the truth? That evening, I called Ethan. "Can we talk?" "Of course." When he arrived, I told him everything. His reaction surprised me. Instead of looking confused, he looked nervous. "Who was this woman?" he asked. "I don't know." "And you believed her?" "I don't know what to believe," I answered honestly. Ethan rubbed his forehead. "Sarah, you have nothing to worry about." "Then why do you seem nervous?" His eyes moved away from mine. That small movement felt like a knife. "Ethan," I said quietly, "is there something you're not telling me?" "No." The answer came immediately, too immediately. For the first time in our relationship, I wasn't sure if he was telling the truth. The next day, wedding preparations continued. Family members called constantly. Vendors confirmed schedules. Friends sent messages filled with excitement. Everyone was happy, everyone except me. I tried to focus on the wedding, but my mind kept returning to the conversation at the bakery. That afternoon, Emma visited again. The moment she saw my face, she knew something was wrong. After listening to everything, she remained silent for several seconds. "What are you thinking?" I asked. "I think you need answers." "So do I." Emma looked at me seriously. "Before you marry someone, there should be no secrets." Her words stayed with me. That night, I made a decision. I would talk to Ethan one more time. No excuses, no avoiding the truth, just honesty. We met at a small park where we often spent time together. The evening sky was painted with orange and pink colors. Normally, I loved this place. Tonight, it felt different. "Ethan," I began, "I need complete honesty." He looked worried. "Okay. Have you been meeting another woman?" For several seconds, he said nothing. The silence answered my question before his words did. My stomach dropped. Finally, he spoke. "Yes." The world seemed to stop. Tears immediately filled my eyes. "You lied to me." "It isn't what you think." "Then explain." He took a deep breath. "The woman is my ex-girlfriend." My heart broke. "You've been seeing your ex before our wedding?" "Sarah, please listen." I wanted to walk away. I wanted to scream, but I forced myself to stay. "Talk." He looked ashamed. "A few months ago, she contacted me." "Why?" "She was having serious financial problems." I folded my arms. "And?" "She needed help." I laughed bitterly. "So you became her hero?" "No." "Then what happened?" Ethan lowered his eyes. "She has a daughter." I frowned. "What does that have to do with anything?" His voice became very quiet. "The child is mine." For a moment, I couldn't breathe. The words felt impossible. "The child is yours?" He nodded. Everything around me disappeared. The sounds of the park faded away. I could hear only my own heartbeat. "How long have you known?" "About 4 months." 4 months. 4 months of lies. 4 months of secrets. 4 months while we planned a wedding together. "You found out 4 months ago," I whispered, "and you never told me?" "I was afraid." "Afraid of what?" "Afraid of losing you." The tears finally escaped. "You already lost me." Ethan stepped forward. "Please don't say that." But I moved away. At that moment, I didn't recognize the man standing in front of me. The man I loved had hidden something enormous from me. The issue was not only the child. The issue was the deception. Trust had been shattered. That night, I cried for hours. Every memory suddenly felt different. Every promise seemed uncertain. I kept asking myself the same question. How well did I really know him? The following morning was supposed to be my wedding day. Instead of feeling excited, I felt exhausted. My family noticed immediately. My mother sat beside me in silence. Eventually, she asked, "Do you want to talk?" And for the first time, I told someone everything. When I finished, she held my hand. "What will you do?" "I don't know." It was the most honest answer I could give. A few hours later, Ethan arrived at my apartment. His face looked tired. He probably spent the entire night awake, too. "Please give me a chance to explain everything." I crossed my arms. "You already had 4 months." He nodded sadly. "I know." Then he told me the entire story. Years before we met, he had been in a serious relationship. After they separated, they completely lost contact. Recently, his former girlfriend reached out to him and revealed that she had a daughter. After a DNA test, Ethan learned the child was his. He was shocked, confused, terrified. Instead of telling me immediately, he convinced himself he would solve everything first, then he would explain. But days became weeks, weeks became months. The longer he waited, the harder it became to tell the truth. "I never cheated on you," he said. "I never stopped loving you." "Then why didn't you trust me with the truth?" I asked. He looked down. "I don't have a good answer." His honesty surprised me. For once, he wasn't making excuses. He simply admitted his mistake. We sat in silence. Outside, wedding guests were probably getting ready. Flowers had already been delivered. The venue was prepared. Everything was ready except us. Finally, I spoke. "When you hide the truth, you make decisions for other people." Ethan listened quietly. "You decided I couldn't handle the truth." "I know." "You decided what I deserved to know." "I know. And that's what hurts most." A tear rolled down his face. "I understand." For the first time since discovering the secret, I saw genuine regret. Not regret because he got caught, regret because he understood the damage he caused. Hours passed as we talked. Really talked. Maybe for the first time in months. No secrets, no avoidance, no hiding. Just truth. It was painful, but it was real. Eventually, I asked the question that mattered most. "What about your daughter?" A small smile appeared on his face. "I want to be part of her life." I nodded slowly. The answer felt right. Children should not pay for adults' mistakes. Then I asked the harder question. "What about us?" Ethan looked directly at me. "I love you. I want a future with you. But I understand if you can't forgive me." His words hung in the air. I thought about our relationship, the good memories, the bad moments, the broken trust, and the possibility of rebuilding it. Forgiveness is not easy. Trust does not return instantly. Some wounds need time, a lot of time. But I also knew something important. People make mistakes. Some mistakes come from cruelty. Others come from fear. Ethan's mistake came from fear. A terrible decision, a painful decision, but not an evil one. I closed my eyes for a moment. Then I made my choice. We're not getting married today. Pain flashed across his face, but before he could speak, I continued. Not because I don't love you. He looked confused. Then why? Because trust needs time to heal. Hope slowly returned to his expression. We need to rebuild our relationship before we become husband and wife. He nodded. I understand. The wedding was canceled. It was embarrassing. It was expensive. Many people asked questions. Some criticized my decision. Others supported it. But deep inside, I knew it was the right choice. Over the following year, Ethan and I worked hard on our relationship. We attended counseling sessions. We learned how to communicate better. We learned how damaging secrets can be. Most importantly, we learned that honesty must exist, even when the truth is difficult. I also met his daughter. She was sweet, intelligent, and completely innocent. Slowly, our lives began to change. 1 year later, Ethan proposed again. This time there was no grand speech, no dramatic surprise, just honesty. "Will you marry me?" he asked. I smiled. Yes. And when we finally married, the wedding was smaller than the original one. The flowers were simpler, the decorations were modest, but something important was different. There were no secrets. There were no lies. There was trust. Years later, I still remember the day I discovered the truth. Not because it destroyed my life, but because it changed my understanding of love. Love is not pretending everything is perfect. Love is telling the truth, even when the truth is difficult. Love is choosing honesty over comfort. And trust is not built through perfect behavior. It is built through courage, responsibility, and truth. Sometimes the strongest relationships are not the ones that never face problems. They are the ones that face problems honestly and grow stronger because of them. Thank you so much for listening to this story. Have you ever discovered a secret that changed your relationship? Would you have forgiven Ethan? Do you think Sarah made the right decision by postponing the wedding? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and support Tale Talk English. See you next time.